talking to Katie Dickson at Moore Farms Botanical Garden in Lake City. Katie, y'all make certain that no matter what time people come to visit, there's something beautiful here.
Thank you.
And right now, bulbs are the big thing.
Yes, yes. So we have all of our daffodils and surprisingly tulips up at the moment. But yeah, beautiful colors and array.
And daffodils and tulips are the main two groups that you put out. And let's talk a little bit about daffodils first, because that's really just a perfect bulb for the South in many ways, isn't it?
It sure is. They're, for the most part, perennializing, so you get a lot of value for your dollar. And then they come in hundreds, if not thousands, of varieties of all different colors, and some have fragrance, so they're really stellar.
And I think what's fun is you've got the little jonquils that come in really, really early, and then you get these great big ones like the King Alfreds and things that look like that we see. And then there's some that are even have different little bits of colors, some pinks and things even.
Absolutely. There are some, like Pink Charm's one of my favorite, that has sort of a pinkish rosy eye or cup. But of course you've got your big bold yellows, and there's split cup orangery, which is bright orange, so it's just on and on.
And in the South, you said daffodils really do tend to perennialize for us, and part of that means that after they finish blooming, the foliage just seems to last forever. And some people want to go out there and cut it, but I think that's not the right thing to do.
Exactly. So as tempting as it is for gardeners to go out and snip the yellowed floppy foliage, we really suggest giving the bulb time to absorb all the carbohydrates and sugars from that foliage and completely turn yellow before cutting it off. Because if you cut off that foliage prematurely, you're depriving the bulb, so the next season it may not bloom.
And then we go to the tulips, and they have a different lifespan often in South Carolina. So let's talk about the two types that y'all have here.
Okay, so certainly, yeah, like you hinted at, we tend to treat the big, showy hybrid tulips as annuals here. Because their foliage doesn't have ample time to restore the carbohydrates and sugars to the bulb, so the bulb doesn't even really get a chance the next year. So we treat those as a one and done.
And so I don't know what you do here, but at home I just pull them up and put them in the compost heap so that I don't have, because the foliage will keep coming up, but very seldom do you get a bulb.
Absolutely right, yes.
But then y'all have done some experimenting with what are called species tulips. So tell me what your experience has been with that.
Yes, so right now we're growing two, and we've done so for several seasons. The Chrysantha and Clusiana tulips. Basically, they're a smaller, more diminutive tulip. The petals and the flower itself are smaller, but they are still beautifully colored, and they tend to perennialize. And so I think it's definitely worth it to have both the hybrid in your garden and the cute little perennializing ones. They both have value.
And then what are some of the other kind of minor bulbs that you particularly enjoy growing here?
So I would have to say anemone is a standout because of its royal colors. It tends to come in red, purple, and blue, white. It's just a stunning bulb.
But again, one that usually we have to replant.
Exactly, yes. So that is a short-lived guy. It's stunning nonetheless. And we have several flowering ornamental onion varieties. My favorite of which is the Schubert's onion, which we've had on the show before.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, and so that has that huge firework type flower head. And then we've also got a couple of really cute tiny ones, similar to the stature of the species tulip is Iphion, which some call Star of Bethlehem, and it's a little tiny blue star.
And that's the one that smells like garlic when you walk under to pick it.
Yes.
And I see that in lots of old landscapes that escapes out into the grass sometimes, doesn't it?
Exactly, yes. So we try to be a little bit more intentional with ours and have it in the planting bed, but they could pop up in the grass. But yes, and that also comes in shades of white too, so really beautiful.
And then another one, Leucojum, you said is one that, and I think the foliage on that is pretty also.
It is, yes. So Leucojum's great because it's kind of a harbinger of spring. It's one of the first flower bulbs to emerge. And you know it from any other early small bulb because it's got little green polka dots.
That's that little white kind of nodding flower with the little polka dots. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful, worth a look up close. And like you said, the foliage is very upright and green and healthy looking for a long time.
So it makes a statement of its own even without the flower.
It does, yes.
A lot of people think that you're supposed to dig a hole and put fertilizer and phosphorus, maybe bone meal or something. Tell me what your experience has been. If you have a good if you've taken a soil test and everything's good, do you have to do much preparation other than just digging the hole?
Really, no. And here at the farm, when it's planting season, we just dig our hole to the appropriate depth and plant the bulb. We are not concerned with throwing any sort of bone meal or fertilizer down in that hole because our soils in the area tend to already have ample phosphorus, and so adding any additional fertilizer would probably be in excess.
Yes. And so generally, if the bulb is like this large, how deep do you make the hole?
Yeah, so generally, and I learned this from family members, just you want to plant it twice the height of the bulb itself. So if you've got a 2-inch tulip bulb, stick it 4 inches down in the ground. That's just easy to remember.
Yeah.
Twice the height.
And then just mulch it and wait for it to come up.
They're exactly right, yeah.
And one thing is this year, everything bloomed a little bit early, 2017 having been an exceptionally warm winter. And we've had many people who were concerned that their bulbs that had come up and were flowering were going to be harmed. But standing here today, on a very chilly day, these flowers look perfectly healthy.
Yeah, our daffodils are probably the most, vigorous, and they seem pretty unburnt by our recent bizarre frost, so gotta love a daffodil.
Just a wonderful reason to have bulbs in your yard.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, if people want to know more about bulbs at Moore Farms, or just the wonderful other events that y'all have and things that are happening down here, what's the best way to keep up with y'all?
Yeah, the best way to find out about our upcoming Bulbapalooza Garden Open and all of our wonderful classes and events would be to visit our website. It's www.moorefarmsbg.org, and it's a wonderful resource.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for being here today.